Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another 90-day recap video. So today we're talking about 90-Day Fiancé last night. Another good episode. We're just going to get right into it. This is the first episode where all 7 couples were featured. So we can talk about every couple. Some just have one scene, but it's okay. We have every couple. I'm going to start with Emily and Kobe. Emily and Kobe. So remember last episode, Emily had bought herself a ring, because she didn't think that Kobe was going to get her a ring. And I was like, I know this is going to backfire. And it did. So let me explain what happened. So it starts out with Emily and Kobe going to a mattress store to get a new bed because remember, they're not sleeping together. He's sleeping in his own room because of the baby, and they have their little routine, as she says. So they want to buy a bigger bed, so they go to the mattress store to pick out a new bed. They were acting a little inappropriate at the mattress store, and it was kind of disturbing. I was surprised they didn't get kicked out, but nonetheless, they bought a new bed. Then later, Emily's dad, Kobe, and Emily's sister go ring shopping. Kobe was like, I only got like $1,000 or so. Like I do want to get Emily a good ring. And the dad wasn't too thrilled about it at first, but then he was like, but I'm gonna help him so he's not spending an arm and leg. So they go ring shopping, and they get a ring. It looked very, very nice. So then later, we seen Emily and Kobe have a date night. They go to a restaurant, the parents are watching the baby, and it's just a nice little romantic time. They only got like a month left on the visa before they can get married. So Emily is working part-time and just trying to prepare for the wedding and so forth. So they go to the restaurant, they order food and have a little date night. It was a nice moment. There was no fighting, no arguing whatsoever. And then the waitress brings 2 champagne glasses on the house, and they gave Emily hers, and she started drinking it, and she noticed something in it, and it was the ring. Kobe had set it up to where the ring was in the champagne, and she noticed it, and it was like sparkling. It was really cool. It was like really sparkling. And Emily saw she's like, oh my God, and stuff. So Kobe re-proposed to Emily and put the ring on her finger. It was a beautiful moment. I was so happy. I was so happy for them. It was, after all the bickering and the fighting, they finally got back to where they need to be. So she's happy about that, but now she's regretting her little plan. So later they all go back to the house and celebrate, and then Emily drops the bombshell and just says, okay, so I bought my own ring. And Kobe was like, what? And she was like, I didn't think that you were going to buy me one. And Kobe was like, what do you think of me? You think I'm not smart enough to do that? Kobe was really upset. He didn't even want to look at the ring. He just gave it to the dad and was just like, I don't want to look at it. I want to get a bed. And there was nothing much else to say with that. But, I knew that plan was going to backfire, Emily. So, nice try. But I felt bad for Kobe in that situation because, what did she take him for? She was treating him like crap, when they were working in the yard, in the farm and stuff, and now you're underestimating his intelligence. Girl, please. I'm just saying. So that was Emily and Kobe. Next we seen Bilal and Shida, and they had brief scenes. They're still in Atlanta visiting the sister. Shida decides to talk to her 3 sisters, and Bilal talks to his sister. They're just talking about the prenup, and everything. And Bilal's sister was like, I understand both sides. I understand that Bilal needs to protect himself, but Shida, she doesn't have much here right now. Basically. And Shida had a nice little conversation with her sisters. The sisters just gave her advice on how to move forward. So later we see Bilal and Shida, and they are getting ready to go back to Kansas City, and Shida is just in tears. and she's like packing her suitcase, and she was packing it like kind of like sloppy a little bit. And you know how OCD Bilal is. He was like, if you fold it a little bit better, you'll get more in the bag. I'm just like, bro, leave her alone. Like, you don't realize how upset she is right now. Like she's crying right now. Like, you're not doing anything but making her feel worse. So she does that, and then they discuss. Shida brings up the fact that Bilal, she decides, I'll sign the contract under one condition. That contract has to have a time frame on when we can have when you want to have a baby, and I want to have a baby before I'm 40, because remember, Shida's 37 years old, and and she was like, I want to talk to your attorney, and Bilal was like, you want to talk to my attorney? And she was like, yes. And then he didn't say nothing else about it, nothing else, and that was the end of that. So I think with Bilal and Shida, like they just have not gotten it together yet. Like they only had like one good scene. Like they only had a couple good scenes, and then it just turns into a fight. Bilal and Shida, it's a ticking time bomb with them. They don't have much time left on the visa. Like I don't even know they're gonna reach the finish line. But it's just all fighting with them and all disagreements. And Bilal's not doing nothing to be like romantic. He's just not. It's not even like he's even caring a little bit, and it's sad. So I for a while I was Team Bilal, but I'm starting to see and feel how Shida's feeling, and like she's here from Trinidad, and Bilal is just not like being that nice to her. So and Bilal is a really educated man. He's a hard worker. I'll give it to him. He's a great man, personally. But, and I understand that he wants to protect himself, and which is fine. You got to protect yourself. But, you have a beautiful woman here. Like, not everything's going to be perfect. And you knew what the process was doing this K-1 visa stuff. And you just need to get it together. That's simple. So that was Bilal and Shida. Next we seen was Jabri and Miona. They only had one scene. In last week's episode, Jabri's parents really talked to him so much about it, and he was frustrated. And Jabri's parents mentioned last week that they don't think they'll make the wedding and stuff. And now in this episode, they had a dinner. Like Jabri and Miona came over for dinner. They met up with Jabri's parents and his grandma, and they just started hashing their issues and everything. And Miona's just like, what? He's basically telling everybody else their problems, but to me, like he's not like coming to me first. He's telling everybody else about our problems. Jabri doesn't feel like he's ready at this moment, and they only got like they're the ones who had the least amount of time left. They only got like 25, 26, 7 more days left before they can get married, and they don't not even sure how it's gonna be, because they keep bickering and fighting. And Jabri is. Like I said, Jabri's kind of rude and a little bit immature when it comes to this. Like, he's not, like, he knew what the process was doing this K-1 visa, and he's been with Miona for a long time. Like, so he knew what he was getting himself into and know what this K-1 visa 90-day process is. And now he's going to act like he's not ready and stuff. Like, you can't, if you're not ready, this is a bad time to say you're not ready. Because, like, if you're not ready, then don't apply for the K-1 visa. All these people need to understand that when you apply for the K-1 visa, you get approved. The process itself takes a long time. Especially nowadays, like, COVID really messed the immigration thing really up, and everything takes longer now. Like, you gotta have so many documents, you gotta have so many proofs and stuff, and then then you gotta wait for it to be approved, which will take a while. And so they had plenty of time to get it together. And yes, when it's different now with Miona being in America, you're gonna have a lot of these issues because you're in real life now. You're not in the honeymoon stage, but not be ready and just to complain to everybody else about your problems. instead of talking to her first is a little immature. And like I said last week, Jabri is a his way or the highway type of dude, and I don't like his arrogance with that. So then at the dinner table, Jabri called her an entitled millennial, and I'm like, no, he did not. No, he did not. He had called her an entitled millennial, and Jabri's mom quickly checked him on that. And she was like, listen, you can say what you want to say, but you're not going to be calling her names. At that point it's simple. And he tried to cover himself by saying, oh, no, I meant this, and that. And like, no. Now you call her entitled millennial. And I'm like, you got your nerve. You got your nerve. Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Shoot. He's the one who's entitled and an entitled millennial. Shoot. So that was just really rude of Jabri. And I'm just I just wish that same thing. They need to get back to where they were. And they had the least amount of time left on their 90 days. And this is where they're at. And I just can't stand it. So that was Jabri and Miana. Next we seen this was a very, very, very sad scene. I'm going to go to Kara and Guillermo, my favorite couple. So, Kara and Guillermo, Guillermo got a call from the family saying that his brother, Joaquin Jose, was in a hospital, had some kind of kidney failure type deal. And, and he's all upset because they told him that he might not make it and stuff. So, Guillermo is just he was telling Kara, it's tough when you're an immigrant to a different country, because when stuff like this happens, there's nothing you can do. I can't go back. I want to be with my family, but I can't. And we prepare for all this, but not to prepare you when somebody randomly is ill and on their last legs. So he was upset. He was crying, and Kara actually showed emotion and cried with him and stuff. Then the next day at 4 a.m, they get a call and it said that Guillermo's brother passed away. So that was just such a heartbreaking scene. I guess the brother had told Guillermo to marry Kara, move forward and stuff, before the death and stuff. So we're gonna be keeping Guillermo's family in our prayers. I was so sad to see that. That was really sad. So that was all we seen out of Kara and Guillermo. So I'm praying for them. Next up we seen was Eve and Muhammad, and y'all know how I feel about Muhammad. So basically, they only had one scene. They go to the gym. They're getting ready to work out. Eve is just we've been disagreeing. We've been fighting a lot. We just need to get back to where we were. So they're in their workout clothes, and, Eve was in her workout clothes, and she asked Muhammad, is this fine? Am I allowed to wear this? And Muhammad was like, yes, you're fine. And she was like, oh, I'm kind of surprised you said that. But Eve tells the confessional, the shirt was kind of revealing, but I'm not in the mood to fight today. I don't know, it's just bro. There's nothing that she can do. There's nothing she could wear. There's just nothing. He's never going to be satisfied. I think he just wants her to be covered up all the time, even in the summertime, working out, it's just ridiculous. So they had a conversation about children. Now Eve is 48 years old, so she might not be able to have a kid. And basically, if she wanted a kid with Muhammad, Muhammad's I want my child to be, follow the Islam rules and stuff. And he had mentioned that, if my child is not raised Islamic way, I prefer not to have a child. And I was just that's just so rude. And then he had the nerve to say, Eve here, if he was going by Eve's beliefs and stuff, Eve here has too much freedom and stuff. And I'm just I'm just tired of this guy. He's doing nothing but being judgmental and complaining that she's not converting to Islam, and then now to speak on the baby, because Eve was I want my child to raised to believe whatever he wants to believe. And for him to be like, if he doesn't do Islamic way, like, I prefer not to have a child, that's so unfair of him. Like, I'm surprised Eve is holding on this long, but this guy is just like, he has just done nothing but just being rude and disrespectful, judging her parents and stuff. Like, he is 25 years old telling a 48-year-old woman what to do. She's old enough to be his mom, and like, she's basically taking orders from a kid. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm just over it. I'm over it with Muhammad. Like, I'm sorry, I can't stand him. Y'all know how I feel about him. I'm not trying to like disrespect his culture and everything, because I do know how it is like that in Islamic culture. But at some point, you just got to say, it's a bit much. And I read some comments online about like other like people in the Islamic culture, like the females of it, like watching this, and they're just basically saying the nerve of this guy, basically. So I'm just tired of Muhammad like putting down Eve, her parents, and everything. So that was it for them. So I don't even know if they're gonna make the finish line. And like, I think Eve deserves better. She deserves better. She's a great woman. Like, she's willing to do anything for anybody, and to be put down like that, it's just heartbreaking. Next up is Ari and Benny, our veteran couple. Now, we just had Benny's fight last week. Now, Ari, their time is ticking too. They're halfway through their process of the K1, and they need to get back to loving each other. So in this episode, we had an old friend return. Ari meets up with her ex-husband Leandro. Now, in last season of The Other Way, Leandro flew all the way to Ethiopia when she was living in Ethiopia. He flew all the way to Ethiopia to see her and Benny and the baby. When I saw that, I thought that was weird. Like, why would you invite your ex-husband to a different country to meet your current? I know she was a little homesick and needed somebody from home, but that was weird. That was just weird. And they clearly still have feelings for each other. They were married for like 10 years before, and they just like randomly broke up without really a reason. She just left randomly, and that was that. Like, it wasn't even, they didn't have a bad marriage. So I just thought, because she got married at 19, and like I said, they were married for 10 years, and now she's with Benny. So she meets up with Leandro and Benny, like, they talk about the fight, and they talk about, like, practicing. They brought up the girl training with Benny incident that we had a few weeks ago. And, Leandro's like, you gotta be honest with her, man. You gotta be honest with her. Benny's basically uncomfortable being around Leandro because, like, for the obvious reasons and stuff. So, later in the scene, they go to a restaurant because they're celebrating Ethiopia's New Year. In Benny's culture, they have, like, their New Year in September, I believe, or whatever. So I think that it was pretty cool. They had like different kinds of food and stuff. Leandro joined the family because he was like, yeah, this is my family too. Like, we do have a pass and stuff. So Leandro joined them. And a part of this Ethiopian tradition, like, you feed each other out of sign of respect. So, like, Benny was feeding everybody, and he fed Leandro. Well, with Leandro, he took, like, a big chunk of food, and, like, stuffed it in and fed him, and, like, almost tried to choke him. Like, he was just, like, he's just not really comfortable with Leandro. And that's, like, the only time, like, Benny gets a little weary. But when I was watching this scene, I was thinking with Leandro and Ari, I think that since Ari's feeling like Benny's not showing much love and compassion or anything, I think bringing in Leandro, like, and this is all of a sudden Benny's now fully into Ari, like, every time Leandro's around, so maybe I'm thinking that Leandro coming in is gonna, like, like I think Ari's trying to teach Benny a lesson that, hey, like I could easily go back to him. You know, she's not saying that, but I could easily go back to him if you don't step up. You know, and I'm basically bringing him around him just so you can get a like basically a little reality check. So that was not said, but you know that's what I'm kind of seeing. I think that she's trying to give him a big reality check by keep bringing Leandra around. And then at the dinner table, they're talking about they want to go wedding shopping, dress shopping and stuff. And Leandra wants to go, and she wants Leandra to go with her to do dress shopping. And I'm like, what? What? Like, why would you ask your ex-husband to go wedding dress shopping with you? Like, it's like one, and you know, I'm not gender discriminating, but I thought that was a girl thing for starters. And two, he's your ex-husband. You want like it's just their relationship right now is just so weird. I just don't even understand why they're not together. Like, you know, like they had a good marriage and they just randomly broke up and got divorced and stuff, like, and they're still best friends. I'm glad they're best friends. You can be friends with your ex, but they're just a little bit too close, and Ari is more googly eyed over Leandra than she is Benny. So I don't know. But that was Ari and Benny. I just, yeah, I feel for Benny in this situation because it would make me uncomfortable just seeing my fiance around her ex-husband who so close all the time. So yeah. And then last but not least, we seen Patrick and Thais. Patrick and Thais, they're such. I have a crush on Thais. Like I said that before. Thais is just such a beautiful woman. Like you know, she just needs to, you know, she's adjusting to American life, which is cool. You know, she don't come from much, and she asks for much, but it's okay. It's okay. We can work it out. But Patrick and Thais, after the big money fight they had last week, Patrick decides, you know what, I'm going to try to see things from more of Thais' perspective and give her the benefit of the doubt. So he randomly goes, they have breakfast. He randomly says to Thais, hey, we're going to Vegas tomorrow. And Thais was like, her eyes just got big and she was just so happy. She's like, we're going to Vegas? Yes. And so she was all excited, like, yay, this is going to be incredible. So they go to Vegas. Apparently, Patrick has another brother that lives in Vegas and who's married. And they met up with him. I think his name was Matthew and his husband. And so they meet up in Vegas at a restaurant. And, you know, Matthew is completely different than John. You know, this guy looks like he had like his life together. He's married, you know. And I was looking at all three brothers. They don't really look alike, but that's just like a opinion. But, you know, I'm not going to go deep into that and nitpick that. But, you know, but nevertheless, they met up with the brother, and the brother got to meet with Thais and stuff. And Thais was like, is everybody happy that you're marrying Patrick? And Thais dropped the bomb and said, well, my father doesn't really know I'm here marrying Patrick. And this was news to Patrick. And Patrick's like, what? He's like, yeah, my father doesn't know I'm here to marry you. Like, and she doesn't want to tell him that the father doesn't like Patrick and everything. So, and everybody's just like, wow. So Patrick and Thais like get into the car and they discuss that. Patrick is not happy that she kept that from her father. She was like, you know, like I can do like traditional thing, like ask your father for your blessing. And she was like, no, and stuff, you know. And Patrick was trying to explain to her that, listen, when you're about to get married, that's not something you hide from your family. Like, your dad and me are, like, the two most important guys in your life. And, like, and they should know. And she was like, well, I plan on telling him after we get married. Like, no, don't do that. Like, you know, I'm not going to be part of this lie. And if you continue on with this lie, we're not going to get married. So Thais was rolling her eyes about it and stuff and tried to find a compromise. So she surprises Patrick, and they go to, she decides, I have a place I want to take you, and you got to drive me there, so in Vegas. So prior to that, she video chats with her dad saying that she's in Vegas, you know, she's having a good time. She don't know if she'll be back to Brazil or not. and then they come, and then they go to a random place, and the place happened to be a wedding chapel. Thais had wanted Patrick to drive to a certain location. It ended up being a wedding chapel, and they're like, love, let's get married right now, right here, right now. And Patrick was like, what? Like, this is how this is the term what he used. This is how you marry a stripper. Yeah, he was like, I'm not doing it this way. And she was like, come on, I can video chat with my dad and we can get married right now. Like, no, I want a real wedding. And this was unexpected. Like, no, we're not doing it like this. I was kind of surprised that Thais, randomly did that. She was like, and then she tried to get to it, like, I thought you were the love of my life. I thought that you were really wanted me like that. I'm like, you are the love of his life, but you can't be getting married randomly like that. Wedding in Vegas, real original, one of those little public wedding chapels that people get married at all the time. It's cute, but it doesn't feel. I agree with Patrick. It doesn't feel real to me. He wants a real wedding, like not a random just, hey, let's get married right here, right now. Thais was playing it like a game, and it's not a game. So yeah, that was Patrick and Thais. So that was this episode of 90 Day. This was a lot to encounter. Yeah, this is the first episode of the season where all 7 couples were featured. So yeah, I rambled on a little too much here, but we're just down to the goods. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Everybody's 90 days are getting cut closer and stuff. So we're almost at wedding time. We're almost at the tell-all, and I can't wait. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back on Tuesday and Wednesday to do the catfish. So have a great day.